Hello everyone. I decided this season, as you might know, if you saw my other videos, to go for Chieftain. Okay, I wanted an Ascendancy that not a lot of people play to go for top 1. It's also a fun software that we actually end up doing. And my experience was kind of good. I enjoy it. So I want to make like more or less a resume of this experience for me to get the Chieftain to 100 in trials. Honestly, the only reason to play Chieftain right now is because it's a new Ascendancy and because very few people play. Playing Ascendancies that are pretty off meta is something I just like. You have the synergy between the Fire Mastery and the fact that the Ascendancy with the Chieftain favors just stacking fire resistance. So you with the fire resistance you get life regen. That's a good synergy for Righteous Fire. But otherwise, probably Juggernaut is tankier and better, and obviously Inquisitor has more damage, right? Even you could argue even Pathfinder has better regen with the flask. In any case, I chose Chieftain and I really enjoy it. I don't regret it, and I might think I might go for it in a near future, whether it's next season or later on, maybe even in hardcore self-found, because Sakarate has a lot of good. It's very good defensively, and Righteous Fire with Fire Trap is just so efficient that you don't need that much offense. For the content I wanted to do, there was just the normal pinnacle bosses and just few them and mapping to get to 100 fast, right? Early on, as you get to the quest, the first quest with the Eater of Wars and XR, you can tell that the build is not very well balanced. Normally you want an Ascendancy that has some damage, some defensiveness, or a combination of both that allows you to have a good DPS but also defense. The Chieftain focus mostly on defense, and as everyone knows, you have a lot of offensive capabilities. And in with an efficient build like a Righteous Fire, Fire Trap, you're not the fastest at doing this content, right? I wanted to play the Chieftain, and the best way I thought was with a Righteous Fire, Fire Trap. I thought it was the best build. But really, besides you want to play a Chieftain, obviously you want something efficient. Is not the best for you, right? So this is the tree I use. I'm gonna link it on the description. It's not the most efficient thing. I cannot really POV still, as you can see here. This is physical damage. Well, I have the Jewel. So with the Ascendancy, it should say fire damage. That's why I put here like 100% more increased fire damage. Is 1 if you count all this, just to kind of simulate that the Ascendancy is working. So with the Ascendancy working, I don't know if it's better to go for this or go for the old route of getting this. People will say going up here is better. You can take this Cruel Preparation. You can tell the Acrimony, so it's kind of good. But I wanted just to stay here, get some more mastery for the mana reservation, because I found an enlightening, get the Iron Wheels on life here, and so on, right? But on top of that, you get some strength that changes the Iron Wheel. It's probably not the best tree, but it worked for me just fine. I've been playing softcore self-found, but this is still a very tanky character. Like, we're gonna go into detail and you're gonna see, okay? This mastery I didn't allocate it when I hit 100 because I changed my gloves to have the plus AoE for the Purity of Fire. And those gloves I didn't get implicit, okay? I rolled a bunch of them, but I didn't get implicit. So I didn't have it allocated, but once I got implicit after hitting 100, I put it on, okay? So take that in mind, right? Like, again, it's just as I went 1 to 100 in 1 week, very little sleep. This is how it went. But it's not that guy, right? This is just to showcase more or less the general guides, how I deal with the Ascendancy. So Ascendancy, Balaco, the reason to play it, Fire Resistant Max Fire applies to Mass Cold and Lightning, so you basically want to stack Mass Fire, and you become super tanky in terms of defensiveness. Versus spell. That was one of the weaknesses before. You had to get suppression or a spell block, a combination of both, very annoying. Now I'll try just with max resist. With 90% resist, you're pretty good. You need to take care of alignments, okay? But even versus exposure and curses, you don't give a fuck. I will run maps with elemental resistance, elemental weakness curse on you, and you don't care. You get so much fire resist with this that you don't care. This one also synergizes with the life regen with the mastery, right? As 1 regen per fire. on cap fire resistance. On cap means from 0 to whatever you get, okay? Take consideration that there is no cap. So 1 point in fire resist, 1 point of night regen. So because this allows you to stack fire resist, makes it so you get a lot of regen, right? In lane game. This is good for mapping. I don't think this is good at all. Even with the minus 20 now. If it was only when you're not stationary, with the radius fire moving, you could consider it. Still, maybe in hardcore, you go for this instead of this, and you have a Fable as an aura for more defensiveness instead of flammability. But I don't know, you know, it's something that I have to test. And then this one I think is pretty okay. It just makes it more efficient. It's gonna be better for physical to fire, but that's for another video, you know. Anyway, problems of the build. Armor, right? Physical mitigation. Very easy. Very easy. You're a fucking marauder. You stack armor. You have some nodes here that give you endurance charges. I didn't run Infernal Cry because I have the explosives anyway. So I will run Endurance Cry. So I had a bit more endurance charges permanently. You can have the Veil 1 to minimum early on. And with that, the nodes on armor, you can also have this one. And the fact that you're gonna have Molten Cell. Remember the Molten Cell not to level that much. Up to 10, I don't know why it's 9 here. Because I had +1, I was scared that they will fuck it up. Because I have a +2 on the gloves. But yeah, you can have plus 10, the 1, you can go 1 or you can go 2. Because I was a marauder, I thought that 2 was still good. But it's 1 or 2, right? Obviously, you can have Molten Cell, Defiance Banner, along with this Mastery. Already, you're pretty much set versus critical strikes. So, not much more to talk about. You want even more tankiness. You can go seal. You can have the critical mod on the seal too, you know. And then with the tattoos, you have immunity, so you need to run Defiance Banner. Why is that good? Because with Enlightening and no Defiance Banner, you take this node, and this node, you can have the Malevolence. I went for a bit more maximum endurance charges, just in case I didn't want to die at 99. But pretty much you stack armor, you convert all the vision into armor with iron reflexes. And as a marauder, that's pretty much it. You don't need to do much else except stack armor. I end up with 50,000 pretty consistently, I will say. What is here? It says 42. Here it says 42k. But I think I end up with like around 50k inside maps. Also, take into consideration that you can just put, for example, physical 2 fire damage in the helmet until you get the Elder Influence helmet that is just best in slow, right? And in the body armor, you can have additional physical reduction and physical into fire and lightning. And with that, the Ruby Flash, fire resistant, and this fire damage taken, you want to cover a bit more the physical mitigation. That's something you can do. Okay, now to the important part, that is the max resist. We're not one by one, I think. Okay, because it can be a bit overwhelming. Let's say you're a fresh character, either in your right before Kitaba, right, on already maps, or even better in Act 7A when you normally will do the laugh, right? The start of Act 8. Let's say you wanna start getting some fire resistance, okay, slowly. That's a bit complicated. The transition from Purity of Elements, it can be risky in hardcore. But I guess you just put your flash, right? You ready your flash and you go for it because it's just so good. Now, not to move on to another thing, okay? If you wanna, you can get Purity of Fire to give you fire max, fire resist. You level up to 23. You're gonna say, how the fuck I put this to 23? Well, you can have Amulet +1, right? You can have also the Corrupt, right? How I did was Corrupt Purity of Fire. I had a +1 to all the gems in the Amulet, but I had damage over time with better stats, better utility Amulet, so I put the damage over time. And what this is use the +2 on the gloves Veil mod, +2 to socket the AoE gems, right? So that way I will have a Purity of Fire give me +5. Okay, 80%. Now, if you take the notes of you take these notes over here, it's gonna give increase effect of non-auras, and it's gonna give you another 5 reses, right? But more ways. You have a lot of ways on the tree, plus 1 to 5 reses, and you're gonna be to sort this out, okay? As you progress, you're gonna be to, okay, what do I value more? Do I value more the mastery, or do I value more having the level 23? Obviously, early on, you put the points on the tree, and later on you can remove them, okay? So you can free those points and put them somewhere else. Have this node, you get plus 1 here and plus 2 here. On top of that, you have this take, okay? Plus 1 to maximum elemental resistance, you have reserve life and mana. And because you kind of want to go for vitality, that's a tech that you can get very early on. You go vitality with arrogance, very efficient. You reserve some life, okay, that maybe in hardcore is a bit scary, but it gives you plus 1 that is gonna be way more defenses. More ways to get plus fire resistance, right? You can go early on and go here and get another plus 1 there, okay? You can anoint this one over here that is not that expensive. You can want crystal skin until you fix more or less your build. Another way is obviously is gonna be with Eldritch Influence on boots and helmet. This is not counting the fact that, let me put the armor. Now I'm gonna have 91 because you have this mastery over here. I removed that because I had the plus 1 over there. You have armor plus 1 to all, okay? So this mastery is counting. I will have plus 91. I'm just showing more or less options you have. Obviously, if you have the Eldritch Influence, you will drop these points and be fine with it, right? See, 90%. But those are more or less the ways. Now, maybe for hardcore, what will I do? Probably maybe try to ponder what's best. If get some spell suppression over here, right? But then I need to go evasion and armor, annoying. Or get some spell block or what? I found very tanky. I found myself like I was very tanky just with max resistance to 90. And Endurance Cry just regen me, and with my life regen and Endurance Cry every few seconds, I felt like it was fairly tanky. But not for hardcore standards how we'll do it. Have to go into detail. But for soccer, I didn't die in level 98, 99. I died at 97 when I was switching my helmet and my setup. As you can see, I have a 5 link, okay, only, and the damage was good enough. But I was trying to switch the helmet, and I was switching a lot. I've died a couple of times in very stupid ways. Let's jump into other defensiveness that you need to take into account, like corrupt blood, bleeding until you get maybe an anti-corrupt blood. Corruption you can run this and this. Even with a flash, kinda good to do for mapping these 2 masteries. You can also have this one if you have immunity, you good armor, and you remove bleeding and corrupt blood when you use some water skill. That can be Bal, Molten Cell, for example. But I found that this is kinda cool, and I can drop this without losing much physical mitigation, okay? Now for that, you need your helmet to have more armor. If it's one that has same evasion and armor, you can just grab some armor mod on it, on the bench, okay? And it will work. So that covers a bit the damage over time. You can get up here too, okay, if you really want. And get less damage taken from damage over time. Probably kind of mandatory for hardcore. But I feel like with the endurance and the regen, that was fine enough. Or you can get it here too, by the way. I was fine enough. I didn't feel like these points were that meaningful in terms of damage, so I didn't go for it. Elemental alignments on you, obviously, using flags sometimes is not gonna cover it all, but that's more or less depending on what items you get, and also with the tattoos now, you can pretty much get cost reduction or any elemental alignment reduction that you want, or use the pantheons, for example, for anti-freeze and so on. So that's up to you, and to use the resource how you like and set up how you wish. But I feel like Curses will do nothing. Elemental weakness will do nothing to me. The only thing was shock. So having corrupt blood, anti-bleed will allow me to either have anti-shock on the flash, or I think this is an old one, honestly. Have anti-shock in here and have anti-curse. That's why I kind of like this 2 mastery. That's probably what curses don't really you care that much about curses in terms of elemental damage. Maybe they're a bit more rough if you find one of these possessed bosses that curse you and removes your physical mitigation. But for the most part, again, soft curse found, if maybe you encounter once in your leveling and actually did and died to it. But you can put you can have a curse immunity on the flash. I have some curse duration here and one of these flasks here. This, along with some tattoos, you can pretty much get the curse immunity there. I have a flesh slot, have a free slot there, okay? So with going more or less the defense, I don't want to go much into detail, just more or less the problem I was encountering. I want to get into damage. That honestly is the biggest problem of the build. How to get some damage into it. And that's why maybe it surprises you that I went with a dual wheel setup, right? First of all, I guess we need to talk about weapons. I got these 2 weapons. Again, this is not the best weapons you can get, but as a level up, I got this from Jowanen actually in Expedition, kind of cool. And this one, I found with an open mod to craft the damage over time. Dual wheelness is a bit weird. It forces you to knock out shield charge. That's when you want Radius Fire. And one leap with Frost Blink, which has its own problems. Because versus some bosses is annoying. But I guess you can switch to Flame Dash versus bosses, right? But in terms of tankiness, sure, the shield provides you a lot of damage mitigation. And you can go for example, the Dawnbreaker, I guess. The Dawnbreaker is a bit overkill because it does cold lightning to fire when it's something that you want when you can max fire resistance, but it's very hard for you to max the others, right? And as a Marauder, that's typically the case, but with a Chieftain, you max cold and lightning as well as fire, so it's not really that relevant. The physical comes handy, not gonna lie. So you could have something like that, or some other rare armor shield, maybe with some critical damage reduction. That probably could be the case in Shockfire, but you can see the drop in DPS is kind of huge, okay, kind of relevant. So I went with the dual wheel and was kind of happy with it. With the Endurance Cry, the Life Regen, the Mass Resist, and the physical mitigation, I didn't have any problem, honestly. So one way is that. The Amulet, you can have damage over time. You can have damage over time with +1 or +2. I like the area of effect. I like having a lot of area of effect for as much as I could get for the mapping, okay? In terms of annoyments, besides the utility on the mass resist here, I think it's pretty cool because it also gives you avoid elemental alignments and it's very cheap. You can either get this one that is not very good, but it's cheap, okay? You can also go for this one. It's not forced. It's a bit like a mid end game. You want some extra DPS. But the best will be obviously Whispers of Doom, Triple Golden. It's not impossible to get, honestly, if you can do some Blight, but that will help slow me down to the push to 100, so I didn't went for it. This allows you to go both Flammability and Elemental Wingness. So you have double cores and let me see, Whispers of Doom. Let's put it on so you see the damage, right? This is the one I have, right? I have 1.2 right now. It's not a lot of DPS, right? But for what I wanted, I was mapping and taking consideration also the explosions have DPS, so sometimes you don't even need to kill the whole pack, just half of it to make it explode. Alright. So we have 1.1 because we lost the DPS, but obviously it's not taking into account the fact that you can use a new curse, right? Mental weakness, 1.4, see? So it's a big increase in DPS. More gloves, obviously with exposure. I didn't get much into uniques because even that this build just needs to max fire and chaos resistance, I felt like having even overcap fire resistance for regen and Just having some life here and there, some stats was better, you know? But I mean, I used to have the adrenaline ring here, that rush, that obviously is very good. You can, for mapping, it's another very good way to, and it's not that hard to get. Honestly, it can be a normal drop. You can get it with Cameria in Betrayal pretty easy. I can not pretty easy, but you can get it from Cameria in Transportation. Self-found is a way that I generally get it very consistently, the rush in Cameria. Okay, but because I have enough damage and adrenaline doesn't work versus bosses, I was like, that was my real problem one target. But like, fuck it, let's go for the rest, right? The bell and Stygian, I feel like the utility of the jewel is very good. I got facing on it, which is kind of handy. You don't need it, but honestly, it feels very good to have facing with the Righteous Fire wheel. And one important aspect is to have this helmet with the influence from Elder. You can get it in Elder influence maps, but it's kind of hard to get a good base there. You most certainly gonna need to kill Elder to get one. That's how I got it. Just with 1 million, honestly, you can kill Elder pretty easily. You don't need that much DPS, but obviously it may be a bit slow, but you have max resist and good regen, so you should be fine. It's not like very clean, okay, because you don't have that much one target DPS, and particularly when you're running around and you cannot just fire the traps, throw the traps, or have Righteous Fire applying to Elder, but you know, you can get it done, okay? It's like not super fast, but it's not the slowest either, honestly. I was expecting worse, and it's kind of fine. Here you get try to get as many mods that give you free support. So I got burning damage and concentrate. I had fire trap in my chest armor, Righteous Fire in my helmet, and with this helmet I switched it, right? I put fire trap in the helmet to have burning and concentrate, and then move the Righteous Fire to the body. Obviously wanted another support here. It will be elemental focus. It's a big chunk of DPS. See, it's 1.33, right? But well, I mean, I know I got the sizzling. I got a sizzling 90% of level 99. Literally 90% of level 99. I got a lot of weapons. I got like 6 or 7 sizzling weapons, including the munition cards. But never a sizzling. Feels bad, man. If I had done more trials, I would have gotten easily. But with 5 link and that helmet, I was good enough, honestly. So that's a good thing about the build, I guess. Honestly, you have the influence item works, but having 4 link and 5 link for mapping an early pinnacle was just fine, okay? Now, it's not gonna be as efficient as Detonate Death on a 4 link or any other Ascendancy with a Righteous Fire, but it was playable. I thought it was going to be worse for one time, and was just fine, okay? More offensiveness, well, you got the explosions that felt way better. Now you wanna have in your Atlas as much density as you can get, right? While it's not like super easy to get in Self-Found, you can do Betrayal. Any guy you put in Betrayal intervention is gonna give you Scarabs, and with Growing Ores, you're gonna have a lot of increased pack size. On top of that, you do influence maps, right? That helps you out. Always do either Elder Exarch or Eater of Wars for that extra packs, and obviously increase the quality whenever you can. And then this explosion is 1 in 20. Obviously, not all the packs of 20 you kill are gonna explode, but you know, on average, it's gonna be. Sometimes the problem is sometimes you have packs that you have 40 a big pack of 40 monsters and no one explodes and feels a bit bad, and sometimes they explode 3 in a row with packs of 5 enemies. So I get why people say it's bad because it's very inconsistent compared to other effects, but I kind of like it for mapping, okay? Your goal is to map, is obviously it's gonna be way better. It's fine, it's like nothing crazy, but it's fun. I like this effect. The explosion being 500% makes it so, for example, in Silo, where the boss, maybe Silo is not the best option because it has 3 patterns, but you can literally put his life down in every stage, with explosions of the enemies. Any other map that has enemies around, like it's not called the Battle Temple, but the map that has the Act 2 boss, I don't know right now how it's called, has a lot of enemies. So sometimes I will find like I will just go to the boss, hoard all the enemies and make them explode and kill the boss in one go, even with Maven watching. So not the most consistent, but it's not that bad. And then you have this one, Nagamu, have this one, and Nagamahu. I don't fucking know how to pronounce it. So with this Ascendancy now, very controversial, right? The thing is that sure you can remove this and remove this degeneracy that put here, right? Sure, and with these same points you can put this one. It's like 13 points. And you can go here, annoying the courses, okay, and you end up having more or less the same DPS, being more efficient. But the thing is that since you need to allocate one Ascendancy, and this is what people say is a ruthless Ascendancy, and it's kind of true, right? It feels like a ruthless Ascendancy. So you need to put 1 point. I don't think you're gonna go for this one because the only reason I think to get this one is to have another curse, and you're gonna go flammability because this is like a rule, like enemies have -20 if you are stationary. You cannot go through that, right? So you cannot have exposure nor flammability or elemental weakness. So since you don't want that, because actually the double core setup is pretty strong in terms of DPS, unless you want to have like Infable, but in terms of defense you should be fine anyway. But maybe in hardcore you do. But for the rest of the mortals, you're kind of forced to go for this one. Might as well use it, okay? Might as well use it. Not pretty, but you're gonna know in this, which is very cheap, and go for this ugly setup that is gonna trigger everyone. But don't blame me, okay? Because this is how we're supposed to play this Ascendancy. And that's pretty much it. Obviously, Awaken Gems help, plus skills help, quality helps. I was lucky to get both Awaken Control Destruction, that's pretty damn good. Talk about auras. Again, if you go in lining with Malevolence, you're gonna have for Defiance Banner, okay? Because you have already influence on your helmet. Unless, on top of that, you're gonna need some increased mana reservation. I got very 2 bad gems, but I thought it was worth it for the damage of Malevolence. Okay, here and here. Again, this build is pretty ugly, but honestly, I changed this in the last 2 days, so I went very into detail. So it's a bit of more DPS. I found it was good for just mapping to make it a bit more consistent. Early on, you're gonna just run with the Skitter bots, okay? Determination and Skitter bots with Purity of Fire. Like Purity of Fire, I didn't go for Arrogance on that. It's too much life reservation. So you'll go with Online, Summon Skitter bots, Determination, Defiance Banner, and Purity of Fire, right? Pretty much. You can have early on Purity of Elements until you switch. And by the way, let me remove this. That I still have the DPS from. the double cost. But honestly, this Anointment is not hard. I didn't get it because I didn't push that hard, but it's not that hard to get. And you'll be like 1.4, 1.6. You get you start getting +1 skill on the amulet, perfect quality with level 21. I didn't get that many level 21s, right? I didn't get like fucking lifetime to level 21. So, you know, start helping a little bit here and there. Particularly with the AoE damage, right? Look at that. 21. You start getting here and there a bit more damage. Also, I didn't have a Ball Radius Fire. I got 21. Prefer 21 over Ball Radius Fire, but you try to corrupt it and you get Ball Radius Fire. You know, might as well just to have some burst versus bosses. And that's pretty much it. Like more or less the problems I encountered in the week that I was pushing. Test of defense, physical mitigation, very easy to fix. Elemental mitigation, also very easy to fix. With this node, makes it super easy and very tanky right away. And the problem, the stroll is gonna be not that much, honestly. I was with the dual wheel and getting a decent amulet. In case you don't have Malevolence, because earlier you won. Okay, you put here some damage over time, just some damage over time. Jewels had some over here. Damage over time, right? You want the multiplier one. Crit trap speed also particularly good. And you're gonna get good damage. This also fun again without even needing to trade. Even you go trade, don't worry much about trade honestly. You can just trade for sizzling and having a chill experience. You're the type of guy because you're not gonna need much. And this is without taking into account the tattoos that definitely you can get +1 to dex skills. So you could get +1 to fire trap, +1 to radius fire, depending on what you want. You can have fire resistance on the strength, as far as I know. Careful with putting too many tattoos on the dex and intelligence because you're gonna need that for the fire trap and for the courses. Like you don't have a lot of intelligence or dex, so be careful about that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I went a bit longer than I wanted to make this video. It's just basically my experience and how solvable with the problems of the build. I considered running again because the experience was so good. I might try again, maybe in hardcore self-found, or maybe in a future league. I might go softcore self-found again. I would like to do something else than radius fire with the Chieftain, but I don't think the attack builds with fire to physical don't convince me so far. We'll see if we discover something. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't recommend it. Not the most efficient build, but honestly, it's pretty chill, and the quality of life of just having to max fire resistance and chaos resistance, something that I got used to and can be problematic because you get used just to put fire resistance and not having like triple resistant boots and double resistant rings. And man, I don't know if I'm gonna come from that, you know? That quality of life, honestly, I fucking love it. I fucking love it. Sure, it's softcore still, you know? It feels like a bit like playing, feels like sometimes with this card they're playing like in Ruthless, where you don't need a lot of resources, or you don't have a lot of resources. In normal PoE, you do have a lot of resources, right? But like right away with this character, you can max fire resistance very easily, as I saw. Max the resist, max chaos, and you're gonna be fine for mapping until red maps. Then the problem is particularly gonna be from yellow to red. Just get the damage done. And with levels, you know, getting points in some damage nodes here and here particularly. You can even, I forgot about the tal before getting I got this one the Ascendancy order is 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. Before getting this, you can go up here and then respect, okay? Nothing wrong with that. You can go up here. In fact, I did go here and do this, you know, and remove all this. And then later on you can respect and go here. I feel like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you get that and that is fine, but it's too much trouble. Sure, you can go here and get this on top of that. So it's a bit more justified, right? But I feel like I want the Iron Wheel, I want the mana reservation for Malevolence later on, and I could get this live too. So I feel like going here without being something that I can say is 100% more efficient. I think I like it more because of the lag. You don't need that much trouble nodes, okay? So yeah, this is not a guide to playing Righteous Fire. This is more or less how solve the problems of the build as I went, again, only now 1 week, as I went through the leveling. I end up top 34, I think. Let me see. Top 34 total. Top 1 in Chieftain, solo self-found. Softcore. I wish I could. Don't worry about that bit, okay? That's a side project I have in mind. I wish I could have played this in hardcore self-found, honestly. It's my ultimate goal in PoE to end up playing in solo self-found hardcore, but we'll see, maybe in the future. I was happy with the top 34. Honestly, it cost me more than, like, not being a very efficient build cost me more than it should have with another build, but obviously, if I play other Ascendancy, have more competition to get on 1, where I end up having like over a level of difference against the second one. So pretty happy about that performance. Like, I think the build is just fine. You were consider playing Chieftain and testing it, go ahead. Like, I'm not gonna say this is the best build for it, but it worked for me, and I will say that even with all the negativity towards Chieftain, there's just a perspective of sometimes content creators or even the community that they tend to seek for the most efficient ways of playing. But sometimes the best way of playing is not the most efficient, it's just the most fun for you, right? So sure, the Die, Pathfinder, Juggernaut, Inquisitor, Elementalist, I wanna be better Ascendancy champion, right? They're gonna be better Ascendancies, right? You wanna be efficient, sure. Detonate Death, Toxic Rain, Bone Shatter, you know the drill. But you just wanna have fun with Chieftain because you just feel like playing Chieftain. I don't think it's the worst build. Like actually, I joke about that, but I played this year before the 2 previous seasons. I played to get to 100, Gladiators, Seal Throw in Crucible, and before that, Blade Vortex Trickster. Okay, you're gonna see like what the fuck is wrong with you, right? A lot of things, actually a lot of things, and this is way better than any of those builds. So while this is not the most efficient build, and it's true that community are gonna be like, Chieftain is not the best, it's still good enough not to be like painful. Honestly, you can get to a point that okay, this is acceptable. It's not painful to play. Where you know the other 2 builds I mentioned, they kind of were. So yeah, this was my experience. Chieftain not so bad after all. Okay, and I'll see you in the next video. I wanna do Pathfinder in hardcore self-found. If I die like a noob, maybe I go solo self-found Pathfinder and try to kill Ubers. Good luck with that, right? See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.